welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy X. Last time, we said the next LP had something to do with 2. Now, how creative can we be with 2? We could be simple and go, oh, Final Fantasy 2, or oh, 12, that's got a 2 in the name, we'll just go with that one. Could have been Final Fantasy X too. Well, let's be a little creative with that, and let's go to our 4 basics here. Plus 2, starting at 10. Plus 2 is 12. Well, 12's not on Steam yet. I could LP the PS2 version, but since they have a new version out, why bother too much with doing one that's so drastically different? Okay. Final Fantasy VIII, minus 2. I want to do this one, but not yet. Times 2, 10 times 2. There is no Final Fantasy 20, which leaves me only one option. Welcome to Let's Play Final Fantasy V! And yes, I know that this was not what anyone was probably expecting. And there's a specific reason for that. I will block out that stuff. There we go. That one. I find the right button. Those are just old save files. Now, there is a very kind of specific reason that I'm doing this one. And this game, it's kind of a mixed bag for me because with this game, the first time I played it, I sucked badly at it. And I could not figure out the job system and all this other stuff. And because of that, I really didn't like it the first time I played it. It was only later on when I found some walkthroughs that I was able to enjoy the game a lot more because I was able to understand how to play. And unfortunately, even though I find this game is really good now, its downside is you really do need a walkthrough in order to enjoy it properly and be able to utilize the battle system to its full potential. Now, the reason I'm doing this one now is because, well, I got the inkling to play it, and that doesn't happen very often. I've only played the game 2-3 times, I think, including my test run. But we mustn't follow. The opening theme is really good for this game. Must go check out the Crystal of the Wind. Awesome. Why is the king going by himself? Don't you have guards for that? Always with these older RPGs, the kings are always doing way more than they should be doing. They should, well, to be honest, be sitting on their throne getting fat while everyone else does all the work around them. They've got people to do everything for them. Now, Final Fantasy X-2 was a consideration, but because I really had got the inkling to play Final Fantasy V, I wanted to kind of forego that. And I actually did not expect you guys to really be that receptive toward a Final Fantasy X-2 LP. Now, I'm going to start a test run for it, and I'm not going to promise anything. As with all my other LPs, I would like to do 100% on it, but I have only 100% the game once in my life, and I didn't want to do it, and the only way I was able to beat the ultimate dungeon, whatever the hell it's called, I abused the shit out of Trigger Happy and Catnip, and from what I understand, they've nerfed that in the remake. And so I'm going to need to do some serious research to figure out not only how to get the 100% in one run instead of 2, but I'm also going to have to figure out how to get some strategy going here. And I didn't have strategy the first time I played the game. I just did job classes until I had some good stuff going. Now, I don't want to do 2 games with job classes back to back. And so in between Final Fantasy V and potentially Final Fantasy X too, assuming, I can get a 100% run going. If not, I might end up doing a partial run where I just show off some of the important stuff. I don't know yet. But I do want to work on a game that, oh, well, that's crap. The crystal just exploded. Here I am talking about the next game. That sucked. Well, there goes the game. Game's over. Crystals are broken. Alright, let's start the next game up. And speaking of the next game, it is probably, assuming the test run goes all well, going to be Grandia 3. This is a PS2 title, and not really my favorite from the series. Definitely would be Grandia 2, but I haven't actually played the first one yet, so that one may end up usurping, being better or worse than any of them. I don't know. But anyway, I do want to be able to do that one, and I wanted to do it kind of close to the time I released the Grandia 2 LP, because I wanted to be able to contrast and compare between the two games. Meteor incoming! Well done! Good Chocobo! Put out that fire! Especially with the kind of summer that we've had in, in Canada and the western United States. Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea to put them out. Anyway, like I said, Final Fantasy XII, I want to end up LPing that at some point. I don't think I would end up doing a 100% of Final Fantasy XII, mainly because I'm not fighting Yasmat again. It's not happening. It's just not going to happen. And Final Fantasy VIII, I also mentioned as well. I do want to do that one. That'll happen sooner rather than later, probably the next 4 or 5 LPs I do. And Final Fantasy VI, another game, that's very close to this one. I would also like to do that one. All right, now take a look at that little, I'm not sure if it shows up on film, but you can see in the middle there, right around where the Chocobo is, there's like that little line. That is bad emulation via SNES, and when I had completely rebooted my system, I reinstalled everything after the end of Final Fantasy X's LP. New hard drives, new SSD, everything installed from scratch. It's helped me out. It's fixed a lot of bugs that I was running into. I can keep my graphics drivers updated and still play my PlayStation emulator now. No problems there, so thumbs up to that. Knock on wood, nothing else bad happens. But when I did that, I looked into using RetroArch, or Arch, or whatever you want to call it, in order to record this LP. And it looked like a good idea. There's nothing you can do up to the left, by the way. You are designed to head over to this meteor and go check it out. Boko! Yay, Boko! There's no automatic dash in this version. By the way, this is the Final Fantasy, or the RPGE fan translation for the Super Nintendo. This is the version I'm most familiar with. I don't like what they've done with the Advanced and the DS and the mobile versions and all this other stuff. I can't remember how many versions they have for this particular game. But I found a lot of them just weren't particularly things that I was interested in. And your A button on your Super Nintendo controller is your main button in this game. So that's just kind of hold that, and you'll attack these goblins, and they'll fall down. Man, we get some experience. That's good. But anyway, I'd looked into using it, but it had some kind of wavery thing with RetroArch that was really it gave me a headache, and so I wasn't going to try an LP with that. Just like the same movement that I was demonstrating there on the world map, I was running into not a line, but everything was just kind of wavering, and it was giving me a headache, and I did not want to try an LP with that going on. It would be very distracting. Well, we've already got our hero set up. And yes, I'm going to change this. Yeah, in this translation, they decided to call him Butts for some reason. That's how they translated it. In every other translation I've ever seen, his name is Bartz. So I'm going to go with Bartz. So there's that. Okay. Journeying with the Chocobo to nowhere in particular. Oh, he's off on a journey to do nothing. God, wouldn't it be nice to not have to go to work? And just be able to go and do. Yeah. But I guess, some people are just lucky. Anyway, suddenly came down from the sky. The blast sent me flying and I fell unconscious. Okay. Is it a meteor? A meteor? Actually, isn't technically once it hits the ground, it's a meteorite? No. Yeah, I think so. Because it's a meteoroid, and then it passes the, you know, the atmosphere, and then it's a meteor, and then it lands on this meteorite, I think. I'm trying to remember, it's been way too long. I gotta go back to school and learn some stuff again. I must hurry. Wait a sec. I saved the girl. I'm supposed to go on a quest with her and save something. I love the little emoticons they got in this game. It's a step up from what we saw in Final Fantasy IV. And in fact, I actually like the art style more for this game than I do for Final Fantasy VI, even though technically it's an upgrade. There's a guy up there, but we can just leave him alone. Welcome back to a whole whack ton of secret passages. There will be a lot of them. There you go, just so you can kind of see there if you want to. I can remove background layers or not if you want. There's one spot where I probably will remove the layers just because it's a long trek and I'll end up running around in circles. An old man. I wonder how old he actually is. Old by RPG standards is he's 30. Unless it's Grandia 3, and I'll get to that. Never mind. I started my test run yesterday. I'm like 3 hours into that game, so hopefully things go well with the emulator. I've made some changes to my settings. Hopefully it'll look nice. Can't remember a thing. Oh, great, this trope again. He's got amnesia. Yay. Did you remember everything? Oh, he remembered his name. Cool. No, he knows his name. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know why they do that in so many games, especially back then. It was just an easy-to-use plot device that they were like, sure, he lost his memory. We'll learn some more information later. It's a way of, you know, focusing him and relating him to or connecting him to what's going on in the plot without having him just tell everyone what's going on right away. I understand the purpose of it. It's just lazy. So you have a feeling you need to go with us on our quest. Cool. Please take me with you. An old man, and well, we know she's a princess, but these guys don't. You know, and Lena are gonna go off and do, you know, whatever. Seems kind of creepy, old man tagging along, but, you know, this was a more innocent time, you know, both when the game was made and, you know, the time period it's trying to represent. What about you, Bartz? I'm gonna go do my own thing. Well, that was unexpected. That's not how the game works. We're all supposed to go off together. I'm not supposed to have a party of one. Goodbye, I guess. See you later? Anyway, one of the other reasons that I really like this game is kind of a mixed bag for me is this one. I'm gonna admit something here. When I had my Super Nintendo, the only JRPG I played was Chrono Trigger. I played some Zelda, you know, and a lot of like kind of different variety of games. I actually had a variety of games that I would play back then. Now I play mostly JRPGs because I'm more interested in story and music than I am of pretty much anything else when it comes to gaming. Oh, crash! He put on the brakes there. Work. Hmm? Oh, I guess he talks to animals, or at least his chocobo. And because, you know, I never played all the Super Nintendo Final Fantasies when they originally came out, my first experience with them was all the remakes that were released on the PS1. It was actually the first time I played Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy VI, and Final Fantasy I and II. Oddly enough, I still have not played Final Fantasy III. But anyway, getting off topic. When I bought Final Fantasy Anthology, which was the PlayStation re-release of Final Fantasy V and Final Fantasy VI, my copy I got from GameStop came with an audio CD. And I'll throw that up on screen at some point here. But that was one of my first kind of introductions to the concept of listening to video game music outside of the game itself. And it was very important in kind of shaping, you know, both my musical tastes and, you know, me wanting to get more into this genre of gaming, because Uematsu just put on some outstanding music. And I still remember that CD. It was shortly in and around that area where I got access to a friend's place, and he had a CD burner, and I didn't have one at the time. I didn't even have a computer. And so I was able to borrow his computer, download a couple of songs, and make my first CD full of all video game music. And I don't remember much about the CD. I know it had a lot of good songs on it. First track on that CD, Time Scar from Chrono Cross. And of course, Terra's theme from Final Fantasy VI. And one of the themes that we haven't heard yet from this game, but we will be hearing it shortly. And because of this game's association with that CD and that kind of turning point in, you know, my musical tastes, it is very important as a game to me for nostalgic purposes. It really is. Overall, you know, this game's got a bunch of issues, but for the most part, I still enjoy it now that I have a better understanding of how the game mechanics work. And that, I think, is the biggest block to anyone getting into this game, is the complicated nature of the game mechanics. But I intend to show you guys a lot of game mechanics in this game, and how to completely break the game with them. Yeah! It's a game that kicked the crap out of me so many times when I was a kid, and now I get revenge. Now we're gonna all join up. Oh, did he now? The wind is calling. I thought that was your plan, Galuf. Oh, this game is cute. It does comedy pretty well, this game. What do we do? Where'd the music go? Yay! Such an adventurous beat. One of the interesting aspects to the music in this game is, unlike, you know, Final Fantasy VII or 6 or 8 or 9, like pretty much every Final Fantasy game, you know, from 4 onward had that one theme that was like iconic for that game. Final Fantasy V kinda has it. Well, actually they do have it, but the thing is, as a balanced soundtrack, it really has like some of the most balanced music, where not, you know, one song is light years above everything else. We don't have a Terra's theme or an Eris theme that just, you know, everyone knows about and they don't know about any of the other songs. There's one song from this game that's kind of like that, but pretty much all of the other music is very, very balanced and very good as well. Anyway, we got a cave to head into now. It's dangerous, Ed. You better stay here. You're abandoning your chocobo. Well, that's no good. Now, that song I was mentioning that was on my first, you know, custom CD, it was this one. I think this one is technically called Nostalgia, oddly enough. Oh, attack from behind. Oh, I hate you. You know what? Run! Well, I guess we could fight him. So one of the things I will be doing a lot of in this game is running away. Our different characters come with different weapons from the start. None of them are all particularly good, and we're all in the back row at this point, so Go. Kill it. For the most part, I'm not going to be doing a lot of battling or fighting a lot of the enemies. The enemies early game aren't particularly difficult, but what I am going to do is I'm going to spend a lot of time running away. Now, there is a reason for this I will be getting into right about now. We have a spring here. Let's go talk to the spring. And run into another battle, which I'm going to run away from. I don't really need to demonstrate how to kill these guys. It's pretty obvious. You mash the A button until you win. This is a recovery spring. Now, these are usually good points to do what I'm going to do right now. Now, I will mention right away, the majority of my knowledge for this game comes from GameFAQs as well as another Let's Player. And that Let's Player really kind of focused how I'm going to be, you know, kind of my starting point for this LP and how I'm going to build my characters and the items that I'm going to go after to an extent, and then I'm going to try and do as much branching off from what he's already done as possible. And that Let's Player is HC Bailey. Now, I'm going to acknowledge right away that I knew very little until I watched his LP a number of years ago, and that was when I actually started to enjoy the game again. So all the shoutouts in the world to him for allowing me to enjoy this game, both on a story and a music side again, as well as helping me through all of the, you know, the battle mechanics and all that. Now, did he do everything in his LP that I want to do? No. But he did a hell of a lot more than, you know, I would have expected when I first started watching LPs. So, with that being said, there is a weapon choice much later in the game. It is between the Brave Blade and the Chicken Knife. The Brave Blade, I think, has an attack power of 150, 155, 255, something like that, I don't know. And it will decrease the more you run from battle. Considering I've already demonstrated that I'm going to be running from battle, we're going to go with the opposite choice, the Chicken Knife, which starts with a battle power of 0 and goes up to 127 the more you run from battle. I think you run away twice and it ups its attack power by 1. Now, technically, the number 127 is lower than 150 or 155. I don't think it's 255. Anyway, so it's lower. So why would I want to go for it? Well, there's a number of reasons. One, because it's a dagger, or a knife, it is influenced by 2 different stats, not just strength. It's influenced by both strength and agility, so the actual damage it will deal is higher. It's also able to be used by more classes, and as you can see by the menu here, we will have jobs or different classes in this game, and we'll be able to choose which classes we want to use at any particular time. With that, we're going to be trying to use as many jobs as we can if they're useful. If they're not going to be useful, we're not going to use them. There's one that I used heavily throughout my very first playthrough, the Berserker, which isn't really all that good, but if you build it up properly, you can walk through a lot of the game with just Berserkers and letting go of the controller. It's possible. It makes the end of the game really difficult because you don't have anything else built up, but it's possible to go through a lot of the game like that. Anything else? Okay, so the reason why I brought up H.C. Bailey is because he is the one who decided to split up the running away to build up the Chicken Knife into easy to kind of control little sections. Pretty much anytime you get to a new area, you run away from 10 to 20 battles, and it's even better if there's something like Healing Spring right next to you, so you can just go run away from a few battles and then start up again. So basically, I'll be doing this at a number of different points, but there's also a few different spots in the plot where I'll simply be running away excuse me, from a bunch of enemies anyway, just because I don't want to be gaining levels at that point in the plot, or I only want to fight one particular enemy because they have a good drop or a good steal that I want to go after. And that's one of the things about this game, is there's a lot of opportunity to get gear much earlier than you would otherwise be able to by getting rare steals and by getting drops from enemies. And I am going to be going after a lot of the useful ones, and when I do so, it's going to be simple enough to get, it's just going to be very time consuming. And there is an ability we get partway through the game that makes it a lot easier, but it's still going to be a little bit on the tedious side. So because of that, I want to demonstrate kind of two different strategies for a lot of the bosses. Strategy 1, fight the boss with what we likely have at this point in the plot, you know, dealing with this kind of spell or this kind of attack or something like that. And then I want to totally annihilate the boss. Now, there is a lot of ways to one-shot, two-shot, completely neutralize bosses so they can't even hurt you in this game. And because of that, I want to show off a lot of bosses in this game, at least two different ways, because I think it will be interesting to show how easy you can make a boss, you know, taking a boss, waiting for a cue in the battle, and then petrifying them to death, when normally they're immune to petrification, or, you know, breaking Berserk immunity with the Kiss of Blessing glitch. And I want to be able to show these off, but also have a way of people following along if they're not trying to cheese through all the fights. So that's kind of my plan for this LP, and why I've been talking while we just kind of wandered around in circles or back and forth over and over and over again. But anyway, that's pretty much all the time we have for today. We've got our basic setup, we've got our characters set up. You can go into your menu here, you can move some of your equipment around. For the most part, it doesn't really matter. Most of us don't have all that much at this point. Leave everyone in the front row so we deal as much damage as we can, and we should be pretty much good to go. As far as config goes, put the battle speed up, put the message speed up. That should be fine. Everything else looks good. I leave the battle mode on wait, gives you more time to go through your menus, but that's entirely up to you. But yeah, let's take a look. We've got white magic, black magic, dimension magic, espers, sword magic, blue magic, and songs. On top of that, we have a whole whack ton of different items that we can use and combinations that we can employ. So there's a lot really to this game in terms of strategy, in terms of building things up, in terms of, you know, how to build an effective character. And I want to go over a lot of this stuff in this game because I think it allows and it adds to the enjoyment factor that at least I can get out of this game. So anyway, that's all for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.